So, the guidance about transgenderism in regards to schools has come out. It's called Gender Questioning Children. It's something that we've been waiting for a long time. And there actually is a lot in this to celebrate because we at Christian Concern have been pushing back against gender ideology and particularly gender ideology in schools for many, many years. And this vindicates a lot of what we've been saying and the way in which we've been fighting cases with various people. Please do look at this and read this, because many of us need to respond to the consultation that's going out on this guidance. If you're a parent and you're watching this, maybe you've discovered the gender identity ideology being pushed or being encouraged in your school or schools around you. The sad truth is that in infant schools, primary schools, secondary schools, all across the board, gender identity language, gender identity ideology is being encouraged, from the posters on the walls to the things that are coming up in the curriculum. And this guidance actually points schools in the right direction in terms of how they should fully consult and talk things through with parents. There's one line in it that says here about a principle for how this guidance should be used. It says parents should not be excluded from decisions taken by a school relating to requests for a child to socially transition. You would think that would be obvious, wouldn't you? But it's needing to be laid out in black and white that parents must be fully communicated with, fully consulted with. And even though there are some loopholes in this which we have some concerns about, there's many good things that are in this guidance that we should be celebrating. One of the things that I'm also really keen to highlight is the watchful waiting approach in terms of children who have gender dysphoria is being strongly encouraged to schools. This is an approach that means you don't just jump on the first opportunity when a child says, oh, do you know what, I think I might be a girl even though I'm a boy. You don't jump on that and affirm them and encourage them. You wait and you think. And you see what else is going on in that child's life. Often we find that children who have been encouraged in these directions have got all sorts of other issues going on, and they often feel this transgender identity is a silver bullet to solve all of the problems that they've got. Many schools have been only too excited to kind of get on board with affirming and encouraging, and many of these schools have had other external organisations encouraging them in that. Well, this guidance really flies in the face of what many of those LGBT organisations, Stonewall, Mermaids and many others just like us, many others have been saying to schools. And schools are going to have to look again when they see this draft of this guidance. They're going to have to look again and say, we need to adjust our policies and our practice in this area. One of the sad things that I've already seen head teachers and teachers responded to this saying, we're going to just carry on and not talk to parents. We're going to carry on the way we've always carried on as we are guiding and leading children. Well, whenever you hear a head teacher or a teacher saying, well, what we're doing is fine, we don't really need to do anything about this guidance, I suggest you look closely at what they're doing in that school. I suggest you look closely at the relationship, sex and health education that's being delivered in that school. It would not be a surprise to me to discover that gender identity is actually being taught inside that school as fact. Whereas, again, very clearly in this, it says gender identity is a contested term. Certainly is. Most people do not believe that you could be born in the wrong body, and yet this is what has been being taught to children. So there is much to be celebrated in this guidance. I would encourage each one of you to respond to this before the 12th of March. We'll be putting forward guidance to you as to how you might want to respond to this. This is hot off the press at the moment, but in the new year we will be encouraging you to answer in particular sorts of ways the specific questions that are being asked about this gender questioning children guidance. You can be sure that those activists who will be very upset about many things here will be responding and will be trying to push back against the wise and helpful things that are currently in this guidance. And I think one of the things that we need to also see is a change in equality law. Indeed, some of the politicians that have been drafting this and shaping this have said that they couldn't go further because other changes would be needed in law. Well, we shall be pushing back to see that those changes are made so that no child could engage in socially transitioning in school. This is a harmful thing for them to be involved in. Let's pray and let's be hopeful that we can continue to see the pendulum swing back and the tide of transgender identity politics that's being experimented on with our children, that this tide can be pushed back. And you could be a part of that.